What's up guys, Matty here. In today's video, we're going to be checking out a new plugin from A.O.M Audio called the Invisible Limiter G3. And as you suspect, probably it is the third version of a limiter that they've been releasing. Pretty well respected around the industry and one of my top 3 or 4 favorites that I use when mastering. Now, what's cool about this version that wasn't in the other versions was it has 2 different stages of limiter, a soft limiter and a brick wall limiter. And I love using 2 limiters when mastering. I do it almost on all my masters. Sometimes it might be a version of a clipper, then a limiter, or just 2 limiters. But what's cool is with one plugin, you get 2 limiters altogether. So in today's video, we'll check out the new limiter, and then I want to compare it against Ozone 9, which is a lot of times my go-to. I'll stack 2 Ozone 9s together for mastering and see how it sounds different. A lot of times in mastering, different limiters will sound different for different songs. So just by checking out one song might not be a great comparison, but at least give you an idea of how they sound different. Let's go. Okay guys, so here is the Invisible Limiter G3. Right at the bat, I really dig that they have an input to the full plugin. It's always great for mastering to have different stages of gain, and you can crank this thing up 20 dB. So if you have a soft master, you don't have to actually turn it up in the song. You could just turn it up right here, which I dig having. Crazy amounts of oversampling in all of their plugins, up to 1.41 megahertz, which I don't know if anyone can hear. I find pretty good results around these 2. And that sounds good. So then you have a wet-dry mix. You also have a mid-side mix, which is nice. This wet-dry could be cool is if you wanted to use another limiter after it possibly and just kind of do a parallel limit. So nice to have that feature here. Then you go into the soft limiter stage and you have your threshold, makeup, your range, which is, the reduction amount, your ratio of the limiter, and then the knee. So a lot of cool parameters. Then you have your attack and release of it. Also this auto mode, which I actually like. It sets the audio, the attack and release automatically for you. And then channel link. And we'll hear it, but one thing I like about this limiter is that it really does maintain the stereo spectrum very well. So after that, this feeds into the brick limiter. So to get the level to the limiter, the brick limiter, you'll use the makeup level here. And that feeds it, and there's your threshold, and then a channel link here, and then also attack and release in these 2 pivot points. Lastly, you have your bypass and your unity gain monitor, which is supposed to make the levels the same amount. However, one time I've tried it, it didn't work. And I don't know, maybe that's a new software thing or something, but it wasn't level matching things. So that's a little weird. Output meter, which is great to have. And then I really like this loudness RMS VU meter. You have a bunch of different options of what you want to meter. And, having this, you might not need Insight or, Clarity M, which was what I usually use if you need to monitor your LUFS. And you can do short-term or monetary. So pretty cool setup. Let's check it out and let you guys hear what it sounds like.
Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you.
So it sounds pretty clean. It's not really clipping out too much, not losing too much of our low end. In the week I've been using this, this is how I usually start things off, and then I'll sometimes switch between auto on and off. And so once I hit play, I'll just start to get levels of, how we could be hitting this. So just as a basis, I'm usually not hitting the soft limiter much more than 2. It starts kind of feeling too compressed when I hit it much harder than that. And then I'm usually hitting the brick wall 1 to 2. So light moves, but with 2 limiters, you can get a lot louder by using 2.
Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up.
And you notice as I brought the soft limiter up, the volume doesn't really change. So that's more what you do with a brick limiter, you feed it in. A soft limiter is usually just going to kind of squish everything, but without any much audio change. The brick wall is like, a hammer or a bat hitting the audio, and it will really get your level up. So now, once we got this kind of hitting at 2, let's switch it on and off with the auto attack and release and just hear how it sounds different.
Fix my mental for a little.
So to me, it sounds a little more controlled with the auto, maybe a little more like flat, but more controlled. So let's leave the auto for now, and then let's bring the brick wall limiter up.
Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up.
And as you can see, just by doing that, we're hitting about 9 LUFS, which is plenty loud for us, you know, all formats nowadays. Okay, cool. So now let's do the fun part. Let's compare this to the Ozone 9. So this is the settings I came up with for this master with the invisible limiter. And then with the Ozone 9, I have the first one in transient mode, and we're hitting it, you know, about
Fix my mental for a little.
Hitting it around 2 dB of gain reduction. And then the second one is the modern, and this is hitting
Fix my mental.
about the same, around 2 dB. So this thing sometimes reduces more on the meters than it actually is, but take that for what it is. And then what we got here is I had these matched by ear, and then we're at about 0.9 LUFS, LUFS. So there should be exactly the same volume. Not super scientific, but close enough. So first I'm going to play the invisible limiter, and then I'll switch to the Ozone 9.
Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get you fed up. Fix my mental for a little, get.
So they sound fairly different. To me, and this is the one thing I like about the invisible limiter, the stereo spectrum is really held together well. And it's a little more open, I guess you could say, where maybe the Ozone sounded a little bit warmer and a little more mono. And that's the thing, that could work. Like maybe you want a warmer, kind of like more subdued master, or maybe you do want kind of open and bright and wide. For this song, I'd probably go with the invisible limiter, but just, you know, to put that out there, and why I say having multiple limiters is helpful on, you know, I've used this for about a week, and I've used it on 5 to 6 masters, and I found, you know, it was about 2 to 3 times I used the invisible, and then 2 to 3 I stay with the Ozone. So everything can sound different, and the way these limiters react to a song is really different. So it's always good to at least have 2 or 3 limiters in your arsenal that you can play with and try out for each song. So let me know what you guys think about the Invisible Limiter 3, if you like it, if you don't like it, also what limiters you like using the most. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below, or you can check me out at mixandmastermysong.com if you need your song mixed, mastered, or if you want to check out some of my courses. Talk to you soon.